Shaming boys has been in the news, with 2 Victorian schools being exposed for making boys apologise for being male. At Brower College in Warrnambool, boys had to stand up and apologise to girls for men's violence.
We all got labelled as predators.
They told us to stand up and turn to a girl in our class and say sorry.
And at Parkdale Secondary College, a youth worker made boys stand in class and then attack them as male oppressors. Many people seem shocked this is happening, yet for years now boys have been being shamed in our schools.
Violence against women.
White Ribbon is an anti-male violence organisation which for years has been working in schools teaching students about domestic violence. But they tell them only one side of the story.
I will stand up, speak out and act to prevent men's violence against women.
I will stand up, speak out and act to prevent men's violence against women.
The White Ribbon Battle Plan is all about denying women's role in family violence and shaming boys for male violence. Research shows that in violent homes, it's not just the dad who is aggressive. Mothers are just as likely to be violent. Look at this important study from the Australian Institute of Criminology, which asked young people whether they'd ever witnessed their dads bashing their mums, or the other way around. Almost the same percentage had seen their mothers attacking fathers as had seen their mothers being abused by their dads. That's exactly what the last 40 years of international research has been showing. There's been well over 1,700 research studies showing most violence is two-way, involving male and female perpetrators. Here's a Canadian psychiatry professor explaining the findings.
First one that I wanted to tell you about is that men are the victims of intimate partner violence at rates comparable to women.
Yet White Ribbon is out in schools across Australia denying children's own experience, teaching kids that their mother's violence doesn't matter, even though children are more likely to be abused or even murdered by their mothers than their fathers. We are teaching them that we don't care about girls who attack other girls or women who abuse men. We only care about violent men. Why aren't students asked to stand up against women's violence against men and children? White Ribbon has repeatedly refused to acknowledge the true statistics about violence. Their goal is only to shame men.
It's about young men standing up and speaking out, and it's about young women expecting respect.
Look at these boys being paraded around, apologising for male violence. In recent weeks, the media has raised concerns about the new national school curriculum. How come no one cares that across Australia there are programs in school curriculums which are presenting men as toxic, aggressive and dangerous? Programs which totally ignore women's violence. This is the South Australian Child Protection course, which is part of the curriculum from kindergarten to high school. 3 years ago, a teacher, Christopher Vogel, did a master thesis showing that these programs totally ignore women's violence and contain example after example of men and boys behaving badly, boys bullying girls, men attacking women, threatening them, raping them. In Victoria, there's a Respectful Relationships program which has been in place for 3 years. It's also all about shaming boys, teaching them that the normal male behaviour is toxic, dangerous to women and can lead to murder.
This is the story of how gender inequality contributes to the murder of one Australian woman almost every week. Even though both his parents work, on the weekends his mum does the housework while dad watches sport. When he cries about being bullied at school, his dad tells him to stop being such a girl and just punch him right back. In such a world, disrespect and hostility is excused and violence against women is far more likely.
Schools should be telling the truth about violence, teaching children to stand up against violence against everybody. The Mothers and Sons campaign is seeking parents to come forward with evidence showing their boys are being shamed. We'll take this to local media to expose what's happening to our boys in our schools.